What's the church Scientology so afraid of?
This is SPTV. Welcome back, everybody, for more SPTV coverage of the Danny Masterson trial live from Los Angeles. So not much to report. The jury did not come back with a verdict yet. Court ended 20 minutes ago. They actually, the jury actually wrapped up at about 3:40, so about 40 minutes ago. Shortly before they wrapped up, they did come out and say they wanted to rewatch a portion of the videoed interview. It sounds like it was the interview that Jane Doe 3 gave to Austin police. I'm not even going to try to get the year right. It might have been 2014, 2016. It's very hard for me to keep track of all the different dates. And they also asked for a transcript of the interview. Even some of the victims in this case have said to me, look, if the jury doesn't have a verdict by the end of Friday, you might as well just go home. No reason to stick around. So I am very much hoping for a verdict by the end of Friday. But for them to be asking to review this interview, to me indicates that they're hung up on possibly some of the, I want to say contradictions, but in this case, what the defense argues is a contradiction is actually just detail provided at a later time that wasn't provided at an earlier time. And the strategy of the defense in this case has been to make a giant mountain out of tiny molehills, where apparently these victims, when they first sat down, individually, respectively, to talk to detectives for the first time about this, apparently the defense expects that a victim in those circumstances should tell literally everything there is ever to tell about this incident in that first interview. And if you ever recover additional detail in any subsequent interviews, or if perhaps an investigator asks you a question that had never been asked before, and that's why you're providing detail, this is all evidence that the victims are making the information up. At least that's what the defense attorney wants the jurors to believe. So for them to be asking to rewatch a portion of that interview indicates that it seems like they're trying to see if there really is a contradiction, and whether, I don't know, whether it speaks to credibility. I mean, I guess that's what the jury would be concerned about, right? So that's it. That video is going to be played for the jury, replayed for the jury at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Then deliberations will resume. And that's pretty much it. I mean, this is just a time in the trial when there's just nothing to report, but I at least wanted to let you guys know that that is what's going on. There isn't a verdict. They did have a question. They will resume at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Let me see. Lathana Grocklinga, I see a comment from you here. Have you seen my email with the link to an article about the 2 Catholic priests who signed the letter to the court supervisor? Very interesting stuff. Lathana, I think someone sent me an email today with a link to the letter itself. If you sent an email with a link to an article about 2 of the priests in the letter, I haven't seen that yet. I'd find that very interesting, and depending on what's in there, I might even do a video about it. So I will check that out. Let's say Jerry Hack, Canada loves Aaron. I love that. How far did you make it up the bridge? I made it to the very lofty levels of the Purification rundown, which is literally the first step every Scientologist does on the bridge. In Scientology, there's many different kinds of auditing that you can get. And you can, there's many different categories of auditing depending on how you want to describe it. But I've had a lot of auditing, just not a lot of bridge auditing. There's certain auditing actions that are on the bridge, and you finish those actions and you're one step higher up on the bridge. I didn't do a lot of those. I very much went out of my way to avoid getting auditing. I didn't like getting auditing. I didn't enjoy, as a child, auditing was something I was subjected to, and I didn't have a choice in the matter. It was never something I was doing because I wanted to do it. It was something I did because I had to do it. And that's not an enjoyable thing. As a young person, the idea of confiding in a stranger and telling my secrets was something that was no, thank you. I didn't ask for that. Not interested in that. So yeah, I very actively avoided getting auditing, and that's why I'm a Purification rundown completion. Thank you, Jerry. Amy Butcher, I am dubious about the outcome. Percentage of sexual assault convictions is so low, just a few percent. Wow. The probability is not on our side. Hope that's not the case. I didn't realize it was so low. That's remarkable. I still believe they're going to find him guilty. It's just that the more hours tick by, the less likely I think that is the outcome. Just because I feel like, I was like, I think they're going to convict him. And if they're going to convict him, I think they're going to convict him quickly. I know I'm repeating myself at this point. I'm still in the headspace where I think they're going to convict him. But if we don't hear something by the end of tomorrow, I'm not so sure. So that's why I'm really hoping we hear something by the end of tomorrow. Okay, cool guy Hino 92. I have a feeling in my gut the bastard is gonna walk. Yes. I've heard some people say if he's going to be found not guilty, Danny Masterson is not going to be found not guilty. That would require a unanimous jury verdict that he is not guilty. I think there is a 0% chance he's going to be found not guilty. He will simply not be found guilty. And that sucks too. That sucks too. I predict they will either find him guilty or there will be a mistrial. Okay, a hung jury, a mistrial. Okay, let's see. Katara, why must he be found guilty on 2 of the 3 counts to go to jail or to go to prison? What happens if he is only guilty of 1 count? So my understanding is that these cases, as individual cases, are past the statute of limitations. And there is something about bundling them together and charging them as forcible rape. There's different kinds of rape legally in California. For example, Cohen, the defense attorney, has said that drugging someone and raping them is not legally forcible rape in the eyes of the law in the state of California. And yet in this case, in the case of Danny's victims, he did drug them, but there was also an element of force. So charging more than, because there's more than one charge. If it was only one charge, if he was only being charged with 1 count of forcible rape, it still, in my understanding, would be past the statute of limitations. Because it's multiple charges bundled together and because it's forcible rape is the only reason these charges are allowed to be brought. And that is why he has to be found guilty on more than 1. He has to be found guilty on at least 2 of the 3. That is my understanding. All right, let's see what the next one is. Joe Birchfield, please do a game show with Mark versus Mike about niche Scientology and LRH quote questions. I'd be happy to make the questions if you don't want to. Well, Joe, I'm definitely not going to. I promise you that. So if you do want us to do something with it and maybe experiment with this little game and see how it works, you're definitely going to have to put those together. And if you send it to me, we might just do something with it. You can send it to me at growingupinscientology@gmail.com. Thank you, Joe. Lathenda Grauklinger. The link in my mail is to the article that proves that those 2 aren't actually priests. Okay, there we go. I put the link in the normal chat here. Excellent. Very, very good. All right, let's see. I think that getting almost to the end here. Evelyn Lee Barney, I don't like this at all. We'll see, Evelyn. I think we're still in a good position right now. We'll see. Valerie Boljak, thank you for everything. And Bytown Beavertail. Ooh, wow. Nice one. All right, everyone. Well, that is all we got for now. Hopefully, we have some good news to report tomorrow. Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thanks to everyone who watches until the very end. And I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.